Do you know ego and self-confidence? They are like parallel lines. They'll always move together, they'll always go together, they'll always go with hand to hand, but they will never meet each other. There would always exist a difference between these two lines, ego and self-confidence. And you know that difference is so minute, that difference is so subtle that most of us are not actually able to differentiate what exactly ego is and what exactly self-confidence is. And that is why it happens most of the times with us that we think we are ego, we are self-confident. We think that we have confidence in us, but the reality is during those times we are not self-confident. We are simply egoistic. We are egoistic about our views, about our opinions, about our ideas. And actually ego और self confidence के बीच में ना एक बहुत ही thin line होती है. There exists a very very thin line between these two, between ego and self confidence, and that thin line actually differs ego from self confidence. But unfortunately we are not able to identify that thin line, or should I say we are not able to understand, we are not able to decode that thin line, and as a result of which we are not able to differentiate what does being egoistic, how does being egoistic is different from being self-confident. And on the pretext of being self-confident, we end up being egoistic and hampering our own growth in life. So in this video today we are going to carefully analyze how to understand that thin line and how to decode that line. What is the reality behind the thin line that exists between ego and self-confidence? And if you're able to realize this thing, if you're able to learn this difference between ego and self-confidence, that could be truly a very insightful and enlightening lesson for you. So make sure you are watching this video till the very end, because you are going to get something amazing from this video today. So keep watching this video and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can get notified about all my videos. So keep watching and keep learning. Do you know ego and self-confidence are nothing but these are just voices that comes from within us. And although these voices are very similar many a times, but still different from each other. So we'll try to understand now how these two voices, one of ego and one of being self-confident, how they are different from each other and how we can identify that minute difference that exists between these two voices. How the voice of ego sounds like? It sounds like this. I can do this thing. I can do this thing better than anyone else. I am perfect at this thing. I don't need anyone to help me out this thing. I can deal with this problem. I can handle this problem. I don't need anyone's advice. This was the voice of ego that comes from within us, or should I say comes from most of us. Do you observe one thing about this voice? This voice simply comes with a statement, and that statement is I can do this thing, I can do this thing, and I can do everything. Actually this voice is of entitlement. इस situation में we are actually entitling ourselves with a tag. And not just about being arrogant not just being arrogant means being egoistic. There are many times जब हम खुद को as a victim mentality से देखते हैं. When we are talking to our own self as a victim, like we say things to ourselves like, I have so many problems in my life, I am unlucky, I am the unluckiest one, I have to deal with all the problems, all the bad luck is being transferred to my fortune. But this is not the reality. The reality is, my friend, everyone have their own problems, everyone is fighting their own battle. It's just only every time we feel that दुनिया की सारी problems हमारी life में exist करती है, and that is basic human nature. But if we are saying to ourselves things like, I have all the problems, I am the unluckiest one, that is also ego. Ego is not about being arrogant only. Ego is about entitling yourself with a certain tag. That tag could be victim mentality, and that tag could be related to arrogance. Now, so we have discussed the voice of ego. Now we'll try to understand what does the voice of self-confidence that comes from within us sounds like, and how it is actually different from the voice of ego. The voice of self-confidence is always honest. It is always truthful, and it always sticks to the reality. So here's what the voice of self-confidence sounds like. I can do this thing because I have practiced this thing. I have learned this thing in the past. I may not be perfect at doing this thing, but I will surely perform better than what I did the last time. That how I did the last time. I am not perfect, and that's why I constantly need some real and genuine people around me so that they can correct me whenever I am wrong and whenever I got deviate from my goals. I can handle this thing, I can handle this problem because I have practical experience of handling these type of things. That's why I can handle this thing. So this was the voice of self-confidence. Now if you try to understand this thing deeply, एक्चुअली में जो ईगो और सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस की आवाज होती है जो कि हमारे अंदर से आती है, दैट वॉइस फ्रॉम कम्स विद इन अस, इट एक्चुअली साउंड्स वेरी सिमिलर टू ईच अदर. An egoistic person also says to himself, I can do this thing, and a self-confident person also says to himself, I can do this thing. So इसमें difference है क्या? वो thin line that I was talking about, what exactly it is all about? That thin line is actually about the validation. I'll just discuss this thing now. दोनों ही केस में, ईगो और सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस के केस में, हम खुद को स्टेटमेंट देते हैं, I can do this thing, egoistic, I can do this thing, self confident. But जो इंसान ईगोइस्टिक होगा, the one who would be egoistic, वो कभी भी खुद को वैलिडेशन नहीं दे पाएगा. He would simply say, I can do this thing. And when he himself will ask him, how you can do this thing, मेरे भाई तू कर कैसे सकता है चीज, उसके पास खुद को आंसर नहीं होगा देने के लिए. And that is a clear sign of entitlement. But the one who would be self-confident, जो self-confident, जिसको अपने capabilities पर, one who would be confident about his capabilities and his experience, that person would be able to give himself a statement and simultaneously a validation. Like, I can do this thing. Why you can do this thing? Because I have practiced this thing. I have given my months to this thing, and that's why I would be able to do this thing. So you see what exactly does that difference means? That difference is all about validation, and that validation is not coming from outside, that is coming from within us. So both ego and self-confidence are within us. They're not connected to the external world. And that validation actually signifies honesty, truthfulness, the reality. There could be this thing could happen sometimes कि you might not have practical knowledge about something. So you can tell yourself, there is a chance I may not be able to do this thing, and that's why I need someone's advice of someone who have practical experience in doing that thing which I lack. That is self-confidence. Validation is not always positive. Validation sometimes can be not against you, but not in your favor. It could be a denying validation also. But self-confidence simply means accepting the validation, accepting the reality. Whereas on the other side, the one who would be egoistic, he would not consider the validation. He would just stick to his own statement, to his own rigid ideas. And that's why we see that those people who are always egoistic, they're not able to grow in their life. Well, let's not just talk about life. They're not able to grow even in their field, because they are not ready to accept the fact that they also can be wrong somewhere. They might also be not knowing something, and because they continuously keep denying this thing, they are not able to grow, simply because they are always giving statements to both to themselves and to others, but they are not able to deliver results. They are not able to validate their statements. So I'm pretty sure by now you're actually able to understand this thing, how ego is different from self-confidence. that thin line we were talking about is of validation. And if you can validate yourself for your statements that you are giving to yourself, then you can say you are self-confident and you are not egoistic. So next time when you are talking to yourself, make sure you are not just giving yourself statements, you are simultaneously backing all those statements with honest and real validation. And that's when, my friend, you can say that you now know the difference between ego, entitlement, and self-confidence. So that's it from my side. I hope you learned something new and something amazing, insightful from this video today. So if you like this concept and the lesson that we have shared in this video, make sure you are sharing it with all your friends, and don't forget to hit that bell icon and hit that thumbs up button also. So stay tuned until the next time. I will come up with even more something amazing and insightful. Till then, bye bye and take care.